So I'm gonna be asking my roommate. He's right next to me. Say hi, Dave.
Hi.
I'm just going over some of the good things, good feelings I have towards him getting help or going to the doctors or doing these type of things. So he's told me that he's moving out in 5 days due to doctor stuff. And you know what? I wish I had noticed, and I wish that some people were helping me. But as far as on Dave's side of this is excellent for him. It's disastrous. I might get killed just because nobody's doing anything on my side to work with me on this. But as far as Dave goes, this is excellent for him. I have had talks with him and sat him down saying that he needs to ask for more help, and this will get it for him, so that's fantastic. And the things that he might get while going into this hospital or going into these places are things like hearing aids. He needs one, but he doesn't want one, but this might help him get one. That would be fantastic. Some of the things that he needs definitely will be there. So I think that him going into any hospital or home for any reason is a great idea right now. But this is the first I'm hearing of it, so I still have a lot of work to do now, as well as it's very dangerous, the situation I'm in now. Because I just got out of the hospital last month, going in and out of the hospital. Last month I was having injury. I was very injured for 2 months on end. I couldn't bend. I couldn't lift. I was having to crawl through doorways and stuff. It was wicked embarrassing. I had to crawl downstairs to do laundry, and then I fell, and it wasn't going. It just wasn't going well. I was crawling a lot. I was bent over a lot. I couldn't stretch to reach anything. It was very, very painful. And I was going to the emergency room and doctors, as well as seizures were being triggered in my seizure activity and my neurological activity where I shake. It was definitely very, very bad. I mean, I did have a seizure. It was so bad. But that stopped. My GI has healed. It's only like a half on a pain scale 1 to 10, it's a half. So I'm back to work. But I don't think that this is enough time to work all this out. We'll see what happens because the doctors are pushing things to November. I got my welfare people haven't told me crap, and they're just kind of not really doing more than 5 minutes of work with me. I get show up 5 minutes, rush me out.
Yeah.
So I need to hear more about that. But I think it's excellent what's going on with David. And I'm not going to give his last name because we want to remain anonymous, but that was my roommate who we've had for a while. We both had our problems, me, seizures, addiction, stuff like that is my issue. I have a lot of seizures. I'm an addict. I'm also a victim. I'm very scared. I'm easily intimidated. I don't like confrontation. Um, it doesn't work out when somebody wants to take advantage of me after I have a seizure or when certain things are happening, like I'm trying to walk in cold. Somebody can push me over and I barely can get up. It just, and I'm very weak and skinny. Keep that in mind too. I've just had a lot of trauma in my life and it's affected me in many, many ways. And as far as though that the way I give back, I move in with really difficult people and we work together and I've been talking about this for a while and he's doing it. He's seeing a doctor and he wants to get the help he needs and I got to be supportive. I think that's a great idea. But I do wish I had a little more notice than 5 days and things were worked out here in a way where it would be a little easier to transfer and do the things I've been talking about for 2 years. Because this was supposed to be done in reverse. I was trying to get the money up so I could move out, and then he was supposed to take over his apartment. But instead, he's going to be moving out into some hospital, and I'll be taking over this apartment. A moldy, scumbag apartment that I've been fixing up for years and years. The only problem I can't fix is the windows. It's good enough now where the grease and everything and all the mushrooms and all the weird crap that this place came with, it's all gone and been sanitized to hell from me. I did it wearing masks, goggles, took care of everything here. But the windows, I can't rip out a whole window that's been molded into the frame and walling and everything. It's inside the building. I mean, it's rotted so your fist can go outside and wave to somebody. I had to fill it with insulation foam, and boy, was it deep and long. And it's all black mold. So I never had any intention of getting locked into this place. and I was trying to save money, but there's always something. So this is a good opportunity to move somebody else in that can contribute $1,000 a month to this place. I can contribute $1,000 a month to this place, and we both have money to save over, and we're both getting stuff for the house. That would be excellent. And David would have everything he needs, as well as his Social Security would get bigger because he wouldn't be going out using any credit cards. So he'll have a lot more money when he comes out. And I don't expect to, there's no plan to move in with him or me move. There is none of that. I'm supposed to move to South Carolina or a warmer climate as soon as I have a diagnosis and a treatment for the seizures and the neurological condition. As well as I should work out some stuff with Social Security while I'm doing that and work a job to save money to move down there because I can't go down there willy nilly without money. It just won't work. You'll get hurt. Just like if I go out in the cold up here with no place to really stay or I spend more than 10 minutes, that's dangerous. That's putting myself in the danger and I know better. So I have some options like taking a Greyhound to a warmer climate, but then I'm giving up all the work I put in the Social Security and everything up here. So that's not a great option. I have having seizures every week as an option. Drinking is not an option. That was the old option. I could drink and stay up here and control it when I needed to, but that would just make me look like a drunk. So that's never going to happen again. I think alcohol is an evil drug too. It doesn't have like the good spirit in it. It has like an evil demon spirit in it. I don't know how to describe it. I guess that's a metaphor that's a little hard to understand. I mean, alcohol is just evil. It's an evil thing. So that I can't use that to treat myself. Benzodiazepine, even if the doctors try to give it to me, I would tell them no, because it's addictive. There has to be other medications that you can try first. That for seizures, we've already found one that's helpful. Benzodiazepine helps. How about we go stay away from that, but we try other meds in that category that are not controlled substances. That's what I've said to them, and that's what I think would be a good idea after we have established a diagnosis. But without that, without clearing up Social Security, with me having seizures every week and getting brain damage and losing the ability to walk and talk, and there's no way that this is getting done. So it's either drop everything, move to a warmer climate, or get hurt all the time and struggle, and those are the only two options available. Moving into a car is for other people, by the way. Keep in mind, my family took my ability to drive a car away from me. Something changed in me at 7 years old when I took a handful of pills. When I went through this horrible, what my mother called an allergy attack. Yeah, by the way, she admitted something happened that night. She admitted she gave me a handful of medication, but she said it was an allergy to medication and don't pay any attention to it. Whatever happened that day did a lot of damage to me, and the symptoms that appeared that day still happen today. And those symptoms interfere with my ability to drive. And I've said this several times. This is nothing new. My hands twitching, my shoulder twitching, my legs twitching up and down when I sit, my whole body spasms, and the full body seizures where I black out and have a seizure, and sometimes my head gets smashed on the cement if I'm walking on the cement like a sidewalk. When I fall over during the seizure, I guess I flop so hard that my skull gets cracked open and I need stitches. I just wake up later. It happens quite a bit though after my seizures. I get head injuries. So this is what's going on with me. And cold triggers that, by the way. Keep in mind, a cold breeze for 10 minutes is enough to really do it. If I don't overdress and pack a backpack full of sweaters and gear, I'm in trouble. Bad things are going to happen to me, and boy, am I ever going to be in pain. I could be in pain for a long time if I'm not careful. So I'm making a plan. I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm praying to God for strength, trying to see what the government and society can give back to me now that I've given to them during COVID, and I've given everything to society in general. I'd like to see what they can do for me other than insurance. I got to admit, Massachusetts gave me a lot of insurance, and New Hampshire gave me insurance, and I appreciate that. But there's a lot of stuff that went on. Massachusetts allowed a lot of bullshit. They allowed, and the doctors should have spoke up. And I was property of Massachusetts when I was taken from my mother. Keep that in mind. I grew up in an orphanage, so I technically was the property of the state of Massachusetts when I was born. So they should have been responsible for me, and then my adopted father and family need to be responsible for me. And crippling me and trying to make me disabled and trying to give that impression and narrative to Social Security could get somebody hurt, and I did. David now has opportunity to do something good for himself. I fully support that. But I think that somebody should have called me or gave me some notice or something. Somebody should have been in on this to give me some information or let me know something a little earlier. That's the only thing I'm curious about, but now it's time to make phone calls. Tomorrow is my doctor and welfare day. I've been taking Thursday every week to go do all this crap that they want me to do. Doctors, drop off this paperwork, write up this, go here, go there. Make sure that this boss fills out this paper. Make sure your landlord fills out this paper. Make sure your doctor fills out this paper. Make sure your other doctor fills out this paper. What's your doctor's name? What's your bank statement? Lots of stuff. So I make sure to take out a day of the week just to do all that. Especially that I don't drive. I have to spend 3 hours getting my body moving. Especially after each seizure. It gets harder and harder to move my body. And just move in general and talk in general. My body is just getting disconnected from my nervous system. I also got these extreme pains going through my whole body like getting tased. It's not a good feeling. But David, what do you think about you moving out? What you told me?
Well, it's a good thing because it'd be my health, and I can live a little longer. But otherwise, I don't like the stuff I'm gonna go through because it scares me. Because I'm gonna be in a lung tank.
I don't know. You would have to look at the paperwork, David, to really know. They'll probably diagnose you, and it probably the truth. You said transfusion earlier.
Yeah, that's for the blood.
That's what they.
They're gonna filter my blood and give me 2 pints when it comes out.
That sounds kind of like dialysis.
Yeah, something like that.
But blood transfusion is when they give you new blood.
Yeah, they're gonna give me new blood.
Okay, yeah, that's a transfusion.
Yeah. Because this blood here is killing me. Plus the black mold that's in my lungs.
Did they actually get that on paper?
Yeah, they got that.
Because I got a bunch of pictures and I went to my doctor, but I'm having trouble getting anything on paper that says that. That would help a lot if you got that paper.
Maybe for your body, maybe it's different than mine.
No, it's not that. My doctors haven't done shit.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they have to figure out why Social Security and my old records don't match me and what I'm saying. It's a whole mess. It's a whole freaking mess. I do much better without medication. I hold a better job. I'm still hyperactive without medication, obviously, but the depression seems to be gone. I'm just very scared about my health, that I want to stay really alive, and I don't want to have a seizure or shake to the ground or be helpless where people hurt me. That's just very simple. So my stuff would disappear, and then they don't know what to do about the real stuff. I mean, it's just they don't have a lot of records. It hasn't been fully talked about. It's been called 1,000,001 things that it's not. A coordination issue. It's been called a tick for medication. It's been called an allergy when it actually happened. I mean, it's been called a speech impediment. All these things are part of it.
Yeah.
But it's all from this night. It's not like this was something I was born with. The speech impediment, there was something, I was always had trouble speaking. But then again, at the same time I was learning how to speak is when this overdose happened. And remember, when I had this overdose, I tried to turn to my mother and ask her for help, and I noticed that my speech was not coming out. I couldn't move my lips or my tongue to speak. And this was happening at age 7. Never happened before. But my mother gives me a handful of pills. All of a sudden my vision looks drunk, like I'm high as a kite, but I don't know this at age 5 or 7. Then I turn to my mother for help, but I can't talk. I'm just sounds like I got marbles and I can't talk. Something's wrong with my body. Then I try to go over to my father. At this point, my mother is in the other hallway on the phone with some doctor or emergency contact or some emergency person because I'm an orphan in a ward of the state. At this point, I'm crawling over to my father and I'm on a pile of newspapers. Now, while crawling, I couldn't feel my hands or the carpet. I barely could make it to the newspapers, and this should have been very visible. My breathing was slowing down. I couldn't stay conscious. My eyes were going out. My vision was going out. My breathing was slowing down. I couldn't feel, I couldn't see, I couldn't talk. At this point, my mother comes back in, and the last thing I hear is her say the words, "They don't know what they're talking about." That's it. When I woke up, I had this permanent problem where I had permanent problems moving my body. I had permanent problems in my back, spine, and a feeling going through my body I couldn't quite describe. And the drugs continued, and like the Epicat giving me extra of that, I'm sure did some damage to my esophagus. There's just things that went on I'll never know all the pills that were given to me, so I'll never know all the damage that was done to me, but I know for sure damage was done to me by my mother with pills. That's not no fantasy, that's fact. That's basing that off traumatic, visual facts that I can describe. I can describe the movie that was playing, it was Batman Mr. Freeze, and I can describe a scene that night that I was looking up at. There was a small, well, from where I was sitting, it was actually a pretty big TV, but from across the room, because there was two couches and I was all the way away from this TV, the screen was small and I could see a helmet and like a white figure in the helmet.
Yeah.
And this is as a child. I'm not describing, this is actually what I remember from the memory. And I remember the movie was called Batman Mr. Freeze. And I was happy that I would be watching this with them. But I didn't get through the movie before having this reaction. I could also tell you that my mother was on the couch to my right, and my father was on like an armchair or a love seat. I can't remember exactly which one. To my left. And I can tell you there was a pile of newspapers near his left foot where I used to scribble a lot of times on the newspapers, but this time there was no scribbling. There was me dying.
Oh.
Or me getting seriously hurt from medication. If you want to call it that. An overdose from medication is very bad, and when untreated, it can cause serious damage to the brain, nervous system, and other organs. She could have mixed up a pill. She could have tried to give me extra to put me to sleep so she could change the channel. I really don't know, but whatever it was, she didn't call an ambulance, and she tried to hide it for many years, and her behavior continued. That's my issue, and now, I'm 31, I can't drive, so I can't live in a car. So what am I going to do? I'm going to try to pay all the bills. I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to ask for help, and then if that doesn't work, I'm going to die a slow, painful death. I'm going to do it like a man, too, on the side of the road, seizing with my head bashed open, bleeding all over the place. Then I get to the hospital. They'll release me to some other place. I'll seize again. I'll get bashed. Then they'll get me in a wheelchair. Then I'll seize in the wheelchair until I'm fucking just dead. My heart gives out. Whatever. And I'll take that like a man. I will. I'll just scream there with nobody around, fucking everybody. For giving them all the middle finger as I fucking die. Nobody, I wouldn't do anything to anybody. I would just tell everybody, this is what happened. That's why I'm putting my story down now. Because it's important that people hear my voice before I lose it. It's important that people hear my story before I can't give it. Because this is all true. 100% true. I'm not trying to hide anything on these recorders. I'm giving free-flowing information that most people would twist and use as ammo. What I mean by ammo is taking something good and using it against you, like sharing personal information about what your life is like before you die. Leaving an open journal so people can understand you when you become so brain dead that you can't speak or you're paralyzed. It's important to have a record of why this is so the doctors can actually figure out what's going on when that happens too. Now, as far as David moving out, that's excellent for him. My issues are not his issues.